Frederick Allman, would you read us one of your paragraphs?
Sure. Frederick Allman shouldn't be alive. A veteran homicide detective will tell you. Instead, he should be a casualty, one more murder statistic chalked up to the violent neighborhoods of South Central Los Angeles. Sheriff Sergeant Jerry Jason was sure that the 11-year-old son of Alma Allman would die on September 4th, the day after Labor Day. The youth stabbed an estimated 30 times, was in surgery as the detectives entered the well-kept home where Frederick lived with his mother. The body of Alma Allman, 33, was on the living room floor. She had been stabbed more than 50 times. That house was one of the bloodiest messes I've ever seen, said Jensen. It's not often you find two victims in one place who have been stabbed 80 times between them. It was almost like a shark going into a frenzy.
I've seen you, and many of us probably have seen you on the bio channel, and on there they did it like snippets. So now you're here live with us. I'd like to know that very day, if you can, if it's not too sensitive, for you to tell us, and recovering through that. I know you were 11 years old. Can you tell us that very day, your emotions or how you felt?
Well, that day, it was Labor Day day, and we went to the park, Griffith Park, in Los Angeles, and we had an awesome time when we was preparing for the new school year. And so we barbecued, we just played a lot of games. And so I remember after all that going home, this was our new house. We had only been in there for possibly about 2 or 3 months. And so everything was still kind of new. So I was excited, had my first room to myself. So I'm laying there excited, I got my clothes and everything ready. And I'm laying there just thinking of how school's going to be like, because I'm in a new neighborhood, about to go to a new school. And so things were looking up. And I was also transitioning from elementary to junior high school. So it was a lot of pluses that was going on. And so anyway, as I laid there, eventually I fell asleep with a smile on my face. And suddenly, I heard my mother screaming. And I jumped up out of bed and I ran in the room. And lo and behold, what I never would have expected, there was a man in the room with a knife stabbing my mom. And so I looked for a second. The first thing that came out, Jesus. And he turned around, and then he started trying to attack me. And he went back to, me, then my mom jumped on him, and then he went back to my mom. So there's a lot of crazy stuff happening. I run into the closet, and I'm in my room, and I'm just crying out, Lord, I don't want to die, I want to live. And so all this time, I'm hearing glass break, the walls are shaking, and you're hearing stuff, just noise, and my mother's screaming, and he's chasing her, and I hear her screaming from the knife being stabbed, that she's being stabbed from with, and it was a pretty tough setting. And so anyway, after I had enough peace from the prayer, I decided in my heart I need to go get help. So I tried to sneak down the hallway and get to the phone. The phone was right there at the end of the hallway, and it was off the hook. So I tried to get dial tone, and I couldn't get it. And as much as I tried, I could not get dial tone. And so after the third or fourth try, he noticed me. And so he charged after me, and he started stabbing on me. And then after he felt that I was pretty much done with, he went back to my mom. And so the rest of the time, I'm laying there with my eyes open as if I was dead, and not knowing that I was dying. And I could hear all the screams, and my mom even asked him for a second, can you just you can have anything you want, just let me and my son go. He thought about it, but then he went back after my mom. And so after all of that, it probably was 5-10 minutes, but it seemed like it was hours. And eventually, the setting, I'm laying on the hallway, close to the living room, and my mom's on the other side of the living room, and she's just laying there, and I'm watching him just stabbed my mom. And he does it so many times, and I'm just watching. And the lady that I'm looking at used to be my mom. She's like 80, three times as big as she was because of all the swelling and different things. And even when I knew she was deceased or dead, he kept stabbing her just to make sure that she was dead. And so eventually he got up, went to the back to get the keys and the finances and the jewelry, so forth. And as he was leaving, he seen me laying there with my eyes open. I didn't move or anything. And then he kneeled over and he came to me real close, about this close, and looked at me and took his knife and he cut me on my face to see if I was alive. And I didn't move or feel it, and that's how I knew who it was. And so he left, and then that was it. And so, like I often tell people, the beginning, that was the end and the beginning of my life, laying there. Because I had one choice out of two different decisions that I could make, but I had one choice, and it was either die or live. And as I laid there, the first voice that came said, go to sleep. It's over. Your life's over. And I started to fall asleep, and suddenly another voice came and said, get up. And so I listened to that voice. Me being stabbed about 39 times in the neck, in the left side of my face, in the back, throat, all the places bleeding. I listened to that voice and I had enough strength to get up. And the voice was like he was right there with me. I could hear it very strongly. And he told me exactly what to do. And so I had enough strength. And at that time I could not I couldn't depend on me. I was dependent on that voice. So even though I heard myself wheezing, and I knew I was dying, and I seen the blood dripping, I could not depend on those things for being able to overcome. I could just listen to the voice. And that voice is what kept me alive. And so I eventually went to where he told me to go, and they didn't open the door, but they called police to help, and so help came, and I ended up in the hospital. And the last thing I'll say is that when I was in the hospital, right after surgery, I'm awake. The doctor's not noticing, but they're right at the foot of my bed, and he's talking to the detective. And the detective, and it's almost like a movie. He says, how's he doing, Doc? Is he going to make it? And the doctor says, no, he's not. He's going to die in a couple hours. We've done everything we could do. He's lost too much. And I'm looking at them. I can't talk. And I'm like, I'm right here. I'm alive. I'm here. But they had already counted me as being dead. And so from then, that's where I continued to fight for my life.